Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Statistics and Research 2. This is Stat 5616. I'm Scott Lehman, and I'm going to be the professor assigned to this class. I would like to also introduce right now Sierra Merckx. So sometimes she goes by Sierra Merquez, and sometimes it's Sierra Merckx. So I don't think we get too hung up on these details.
Nope.
How do you like your name being pronounced?
Sierra Merckx.
Merckx. So
That's for today.
excellent. So we're going to kind of co-teach this class, and we're going to break it down into a partition where Sierra is going to be providing most of your lectures. We've gone through and developed a lot of course materials for you. We've even written some of your midterms and finals. We'll be going through the logistics in a moment. But the way this is going to run is Sierra is going to be providing most of your lectures, and I'll come in and I'll provide some of your lectures. But we'll also have a professor's corner. So after a few selected lectures, we'll probably do this about 5 or 6 times. After Sierra lectures, I will provide you an asynchronous lecture on my take from this. So I'm a researcher at Virginia Tech. I've been here for now 14 years. In order to get tenure at a university like this, you have to build an archive of research, working with a lot of different collaborators. And I'll tell you my perspective on that when she goes through her lectures. Mostly we're going to be telling you about the core concepts in experimental design and multiple linear regression and how you control for different scenarios. And we can understand the relationship between data and predictions, forecasts. And that's mostly what we do. I want to dwell on this concept of variation. And that's going to be one of the most important things that you get out of this class, is what variation looks like and what distributions produce different spreads of inferences. So all of this will start to make sense as we go through this course and we get through the nitty-gritty, but we have to go through understanding what the terms are, what the concepts are. And then we have to understand how to apply this to real data. And we have to do it in a scalable way. So this course is going to dwell on concepts, but also we're going to be giving you practical skills in computation. We're going to give you a modern glimpse of what statisticians do. Our teaching assistant is going to be Jessica, so Jingbin Zhu. You'll get an introduction to her in a while. I want to walk you just real quickly through the syllabus, but Sierra is going to give you a much more in-depth view of all of this. The course objectives are to learn modern statistics and understand how to apply this to data that you encounter in your research career, as the course suggests in its name. The textbook for this course is optional. So Sierra is going to have a plethora of materials for you, but it's always a good idea to have a textbook so that you can get a different interpretation of what's going on. So you can understand the semantics through a different lens. And so we encourage you to go out and get the textbook, but we also encourage you to look at multiple sources. So if there's something that's confusing to you in our materials, it's a very good idea to just use your browser and type in the concepts and start doing research in how to learn. And so the more materials you have, the better off you'll be.
Yeah.
But I think everything is self-contained.
Yes.
So you have options, but we encourage you to use multiple materials throughout this course. There's going to be a midterm and there's going to be a final exam. And so those dates are listed here. I'll let Sierra go through all the logistics on the course schedule, but that's the bulk of the course. We're going to have weekly homework assignments as well, and that will all constitute your grade. In this course, we're going to be using JUMP, and we're going to be using R in RStudio. And Sierra will be presenting materials through those packages. Saying that, I believe it's our intention to let you use whatever package you would like to use. So if you're a MATLAB user, use MATLAB. So, but I think a modern statistician nowadays is nimble enough to work across platforms. My general rule is I'll use whatever my collaborators are using. So if they're programming in C, I'll do C. If I have my druthers, I'll use MATLAB. R is extremely popular and jump is extremely useful. It has a great graphical interface. And so what I would say is when you're going through your homework, use something where you can have access to graphics instantly. So a language like assembly wouldn't be a very good choice for a course like this. We're going to try to remain flexible. I think nowadays flexibility is what is required to be successful. If you have any comments, questions, concerns throughout the course, we're going to have Slack resources for you so you can communicate through that, but also just reach out to us if you're struggling with anything, and we'll get you through it all. Here's the basic grade breakdown. So it looks just like you would expect in pretty much any course. So I think keeping you apprised of how well you're doing in relation to the distribution of scores throughout the whole course is what's important. So it's not just where are you on this, but where are you relative to everybody else in the course. And so that's a statistical concept. And so we'll be keeping you apprised of where you're at. I don't think this means anything on its own, but this right here does mean something on its own. And so here are good opportunities to succeed and get the grade that you probably prefer in this class. But here's a huge chunk as well. And so we would expect for you to get all 34% of that, maybe 33%, something like that. And so if you do well here, you're likely to do well here. We'll go into a few more of those details in a moment. Here's some points for you to consider. So if you think that we've graded your material incorrectly, what this really says is come and see us. But I will say, pay attention to these points as well. So that if you don't like the way we worded a question and you want to come and quibble about all of that, I would suggest don't do that. So, but if you need to do it, feel free to do it. If you think that your friend in the class got 1 point higher than you and you think your material is about the same, I would say let's think about this as statisticians and say that's approximately the exact same thing. But if it concerns you a lot, come and see us. But we're suggesting maybe just let that part go. But it's up to you. So again, we're going to give you a lot of flexibilities. At Virginia Tech, we adhere to the honor code, and this is no different in this class or any of your other classes. So if you need a refresher on the honor code, we have a link there for you. All of these materials will be disseminated to you. But if you think you're doing something dishonest in class, I think that's a good indication that you are doing something dishonest. For a statistician, this is of critical importance. Any researcher needs to be 1,000% honest all the time. And so we have to be transparent. We have to let everybody know exactly what we did, and we have to be forthcoming with our data, with our results, with our inferences. So I would say with that in mind, that overlaps the university honor code. But when it comes to your midterms, you're going to be working individually on those. And so this is where it's really going to be of critical importance. We're going to be pretty flexible with the schedule. So hopefully you won't be put in any positions where you are tempted to violate the honor code. And so if you are, come and see us and we'll talk you through it. I'm going to let Sierra go through most of those details, but I want to just point to our schedule. And so this will be updated for you after the midterm, but you're going to get a good forecast as to what we're going to be studying with links, homeworks included, so that you can have a skim over everything and see where we're going in class. Your midterm is going to be during this week. That's typically about where spring break usually lives. This year we're going to be doing things a little bit different at the university, where there are pre-selected days that are going to be spring break days. So you don't have a spring break week, but instead you're going to get a Monday, a Tuesday, a Wednesday, a Thursday, and a Friday off. We understand that that might be a little bit of a nuisance, and sometimes we do just need a break to catch up on things. So here's what we've decided to do to make sure that you get enough time to recover and come in swinging before the final exam shows up. We're going to have this week right here. In the midterm, you can work on throughout that entire week. And then it's going to be due on the Friday. So you're going to get a week to do that midterm and dwell over it and think about it. In the following week, we're going to let you catch up. So we're not going to be presenting you with any new materials during this week. Instead, we're going to host a series of office hours so that you can come in, review everything with us. But also, it's a good time for you to maybe think about your own personal relaxation and rest. And it's always nice to just kind of catch your breath and review all of these materials. So hopefully that will mitigate some of our suffering that we normally go through during the semester, and we can all get a chance to catch up. We haven't filled in all of this right here, so the weeks after the midterm, we're going to decide as we go on what we're going to be presenting right here. We have a rough template of what we're doing, but depending on your needs and where you think this class needs to go, we're going to be a little bit flexible in here. So we'll fill this in the next couple weeks, depending on how this course is going.
Yeah.
Sierra, I think that's all I have to say. I'll be coming in for some lectures to recap after what you do.
Yep.
And you're going to point me in those directions and tell me what you want me to talk about. And I'm going to be joining you on review sessions. So we're going to have Zoom review sessions, and I'll be coming in with Sierra, and I'll be there maybe for the first hour, but these things can go on for about an hour or two sometimes.
Yes.
So we're going to be using those sessions to interact with you. So if you have questions about the details of how do you solve a problem, what are the steps that you go through, bring those questions in.
Yeah.
And so we'll have a Slack page where you can write the questions in advance so that we can read through them, and then we can design kind of an off-the-cuff lecture for you. The review sessions will also be a good time just to talk about statistics in society. And so we see a lot of stats that are appearing on the news these days. So they're floating around, and the importance of getting information from data has never been greater. So in the information age, we need good statistical resources, good computational skills, but also just good qualitative thinking. Stats isn't always a math problem. Sometimes it's a question of what do you compare to what? So how do you baseline everything? And so we'd also encourage you to bring philosophical questions during those review sessions. So those review sessions are going to be what you all decide they're going to be.
Yep.
And so you'll be posting questions to Slack, and we'll design a discussion for all of you. So without further ado, I'm going to hand everything over to Sierra, and she can walk you through the nitty-gritty details. So until I see you next time, have a great first week of school. Hope to see you around campus one of these days. And if you do see us on campus, we might not know who all of you are because of the virtual format, but come over and introduce yourselves.
Yeah.
We'd like to know who we're teaching.
Definitely.
All right. Well, thanks, you guys. Sierra?
So now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna bring you guys straight to the computer screen rather than seeing it on the projector, give you a better image, and we're gonna go through what you should be looking at each week through Canvas, and so you guys get a good layout for lesson 1. So see you on the screen.
So now that Dr. Lehman and I kind of went through the syllabus, what I really want to focus on now is really talking about the structure of the course and how you will be getting information from me throughout this entire semester. So again, this course is asynchronous, so everything, all of our communication, assignments will be all through online. In this course, we're going to be focusing on using Canvas to give you lecture notes, your homework, your exams. YouTube will be for the lectures. Now, you won't have to directly go to YouTube to get the lectures. I hopefully created a very easy way for you guys to know exactly what you have to do and when things are due on Canvas. And then we are going to be using Slack as a discussion board and class discussions. Through the weeks, every week, you should expect about, on average, 2.5 hours of lectures. This would match the amount of time that we would be lecturing in a typical traditional setting, along with a weekly assignment. There will be a midterm and a final. One thing I do want to mention is you can email me. When you do, all I ask is that you kind of put a stat 5616 and your name at the beginning of it, so that this will help me just when I see emails, it will flag it pretty quickly for me, and I'll address it as sooner than most of my other emails. Let's try to use the email just for personal or emergencies, and use Slack for general discussions, homeworks, and lectures. So one thing I do want to mention before getting into Canvas and what to expect here is that if I promise to post something, let's say by Tuesday at 8 a.m., and things aren't posted, just send me a message on Slack. There's a high probability that it's on Canvas, but it's not published. With that in mind, let's get to Canvas. So hopefully when you first open Canvas, your home page will bring you to what we see right here. And we have our syllabus, our tentative schedule. My office hours will be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 10 to 11 on Zoom. I'm not going to have office hours Tuesday, January 19th. This is technically the first day of school. I just want to give you guys the chance to look through this and develop questions before having our first office hours. Here's the link, ID, and password if you need it. Also, what I'm going to try and do is keep kind of a list of important days from week to week. This week's important day is that our homework is due Sunday by midnight. Typically, the homework will be due Friday, giving you more time because we're getting a little bit later start. The first two videos, so lesson 0 and lesson 1, will be released by Tuesday, January 19th at 8 a.m. Right now, really what the holdup is letting for YouTube to process it and all that. So that's really what's taking most of our time. Now, what you guys are going to have to go to are the modules. And so for week 1, I'm going to put the date. And then it should be relatively straightforward where we're going to have lesson 0, which is the overview, the syllabus, and kind of this video you're watching right now. So it's kind of like chicken laid the egg. Hopefully you guys have gotten at least this far. There will be a link here, but again, I'm recording this video, so I don't have the link to this video. Then you're going to be watching lesson 1. Here's a video. I'm going to try and give you guys the time, if I remember throughout the semester, just to give you guys a good being able to time management. Also with each video, I like to give out skeleton notes. So what those look like are something like this, where there's blanks and examples kind of have space. I always like these type of notes going through grad school. So this is how I've structured our lectures. Then you're going to have a homework assignment, and then I will also have, if I have any help videos for this week, they'll be here with R and Jump. Again, waiting for these lectures to process on YouTube, and then this page will be released. But let's talk about homework as well. So for homework, there's about 100 plus. I think last time I looked, it was like 113 of you guys in the class. And that would be a lot if we had to grade your work by hand. And so I will be publishing a PDF version of your homework, which I recommend you working out. But then for your homework, you're going to be submitting a quiz type thing where yours won't be preview, you'll be submit, but it will just go through the questions and you type in your answers, whatever they may be. The first question is just getting you guys onto Slack. I want this to be the first question so that there is no confusion on how you can contact me in the future and all that. But then here's your homework question, and you'll just click your answer. I don't want to click anything, make you guys think otherwise. And you're just going to go through this. There are some questions, such as like if I scroll down, so here's fill in the blank, how many numbers, put in a number. Just letting you know that's not the right number for that answer. Scrolling down, trying to find it. Here we go. So for question 23, and I think my number hours might be out of order and don't match. I'll double check that before making this public. You're just going to submit a file. So with this homework, me and the TA are going to have to go and grade this question by hand. So you'll be able to see how you do on the other questions and get a good glimpse of what your grade is. And then the remainder of your grade will be a little delayed because we will have to grade those by hand. I think that's about it for the homeworks. Let's go back to the modules. Again, as a recap, your home page is here and you'll see homework. Again, homework's due Sunday. Typically, your homeworks will be due Friday. Again, homeworks are normally Friday, but because we're getting a late start, I'm going to push it back until Sunday. When in doubt, always go to the modules, see what you have for that week. You're going to have videos. Sometimes you might have part A, part B, part C, and you'll have skeleton notes and you'll have a homework and help videos. This should get you started. If there are any questions, post them on Slack or come to office hours and we'll be able to help get everything sorted out. That is all I have for you today.